one of India's veteran journalists, Prem Prakash ji. Prem Prakash ji, really appreciate you joining us on the broadcast and taking out some time. And for viewers watching this broadcast, Prem Prakash ji founded ANI some, 40 years ago. It represents, along with Smitaji, what is India's now biggest TV news agency. But he's been a journalist in his own right. And he's been a journalist covering affairs for the past 70 years. He's now come up with a book called Reporting India, which is making waves because he's had some interesting insight takes on what happened in 62, on Nehru, on Krishna Menon. And I look forward to discussing that with Prem Prakash ji. Appreciate your time for joining us on the broadcast. So let me just, 70 years doing journalism in this country. Why did you decide that you wanted to write this book, Reporting India? Mr. Prakash.
Well, you see, when I used to talk to my friends, and they would ask me some questions about various things in the past and so on, right from my childhood days, say when I also saw the departure of the British from India and all the rest, then they would tell me in the end, please write the book, please write the book, please write the book. I kept on neglecting it till I was in Bangalore last year, and I was recovering from a surgery, and I had nothing much to do, so I said, why don't I sit down and keep myself busy with that? And that's how I started writing the book.
Right.
And it's funny that how this Reporting India, even the way I remembered it, my notes and so on.
Right.
I hope
okay.
all those who read it now.
Okay, you'll forgive me, sir, if I just jump directly, into the book, because you made a lot of interesting observations, testimonials, and your impression of what was going on in matters that you've literally seen happen in front of you at various levels. You've written about 62, sir, and I know this is what's making the waves right now, about Nehru feeling personally responsible for what happened in the war with China. Why do you feel so? What indicated as much?
You see, I was very close to the Nehru household, right from the day of my accreditation, way back at the end of 1952-53. And I used to be there almost every day. And I can tell you one thing, that Panditji historically felt that after World War II, the world to sort out any political problems would not go to a war. So therefore, he somehow did not modernize the Indian army because after all the things were changing after World War II. New weapons were coming in.
Yeah.
And Indian army was not being given those, but more money was being spent on what Panditji used to call temples of New India, the development and growth of India. So when suddenly the relations with China deteriorated and we faced a war, of course the Indian army went in with those weapons, and Panditji, I felt, because I was close, and he came to Tezpur, where only myself and George Verghese, two Indian journalists, had stayed on when the Indian army and the administration, everybody withdrew from the north bank of Brahmaputra in Assam. He called for me, and I could see that when I told him all that had happened, I could see that he felt, why did he ignore the army?
Okay, Premji, 65, covering that war. What was the experience? And, what has the change that you see that is different about India now?
Relationship with Pakistan has gone first. 1965 was actually repeat of, Pakistan has always resorted to the same thing. Repeat of 1947. Pakistan sent in, generally, sent in regular army under cover of civilians, and they infiltrated way into in Kashmir. And they were, when I arrived in Srinagar, between the airport and city, when I was driving, my car was hit by 2 bullets. So you could see that they had almost reached there. But as the war developed, their immediate objective was to cut us near Jammu, where there's an area known as Chicken Neck. If they cut us off there, our communications with J&K by road would have been hurt very badly. So India reacted, Shastriji reacted, and we then attacked them all along on Lahore, Sialkot, and I climbed with the Indian Army on top of Haji Pir. This photograph you see on the cover of the book is me on top of Haji Pir as the artillery was firing on them. And Haji Pir was a very important point from where they used to infiltrate.
Okay, I wish we could discuss the entire book here, but I'm going to recommend people watching this broadcast actually go out and read it for themselves. So let me ask you about, since you mentioned Shastri ji, Mr. Prakash, what is your assessment? What happened in Tashkent? We haven't been able to figure it out. What's your take?
I have some very sad memories of that. And I continue to remain puzzled even till today.
Right.
In the sense that the Soviet Union, that was Soviet Union in those days, it was not Russia. Soviet Union was putting very heavy pressure on India to vacate all the areas that it had captured. Remember, we had liberated a lot of large parts of Kashmir. We had moved on to the outskirts of Lahore.
Correct.
We were on the outskirts of Sialkot and many areas. Of course, we would have vacated their mainland territory, but Kashmir was our own. So Shastriji and the army were not ready to vacate that. And the talks were almost breaking down when suddenly we journalists were told that the agreement was being signed. It took us by shock. How could this happen? And the kind of, so we went there, covered it. And that night, when I was fast asleep, a telephone call comes in and says, your Prime Minister is dead. I said, what is this? Came down and we went over there. It remains a mystery. How could, of course, Shastriji was a heart patient. And a very extreme cold weather is bad for any heart patient. But the fact is, the mystery of Shastriji's death continues to haunt India even today.
Mr. Prem Prakash, if I can ask you a larger question, so what is the change that you see in approach? I know the country has changed, but when we say what has actually changed, is it an outlook? It's an approach? Is it simply economy? What do you transmute into what India was then, and as you see it now?
A lot. You see, maybe we should have changed still more. That's a different subject. But a lot, for example, when India became independent, Delhi was known as a city of bicycles. Because all you could see was bicycles all around. There was the Secretariat. Thousands of bicycles would come every morning because the staff used to come on bicycles. Today, those bicycles have been replaced by motorcycles and scooters, as you see it. And look at the traffic jams, the cars. And look at the way women have changed. For example, now you are asking me these questions. You know, first ladies were employed, if I remember correct, somewhere in 1950 or so, in the telephone exchange. It was used to be all male. And there was this question of
even
how to show their security, send them back home, how to do that, and so on. Today, look at the Indian women, education, and complete change in their personality all over India. And again, the growth of India, we have come a long way. We have come a long way from where we were. For example, if you wanted to go to Nainital from Delhi, you couldn't drive. You had to cross the river at Garmukteshwar by train. Similarly, elsewhere, there were not many bridges, there were not... whatever development the British made was for their army and their own convenience.
All right. Prakash, before I let you go, sir, I have to ask you this. In a modern context, what is your advice to young journalists today, sir?
I would say go out in the field, make sure that you get your facts clearly. Do not just believe in something that somebody tells you, verify it. Do verify it. And go in the field, go in the field. There are political stories, even for that, we had to go to secretariat, meet people, meet leaders, talk to them. Only then you got it. Unfortunately, far too many people these days are covering things which are not correct in many ways. But my advice would be, go in the field, know the subject, verify it yourself,
Okay.
and read as much as you can, both economics and history.
Okay, well, it was, sir, a pleasure to have you and to talk to you about the book and in general. And if you are watching this telecast, reporting India, it's the live experiences of Prem Prakash ji over 7 decades now. Prem Prakash ji, appreciate your time. Thanks very much for joining us on the telecast. We take a break.